Hello, nice to be with you again. So, who would want to be Rishi Sunak at the moment? Man with a huge responsibility on his shoulders as he tries to address the economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're aware now that the economic side of things is filling lots of people's minds, whether that's on a grand scale as he is, or whether it's just for ourselves and wondering what the future will hold. So I just thought I'd share a few thoughts about money this morning that come from Jesus, from the scriptures, and three things that we might like to think about while we look at those issues. And the first one is Jesus' words, which are not to worry. Don't worry. You'll probably know these words, but I'm going to read them to you again because they're always worth hearing. This is Jesus. It says, "Therefore, I tell you, don't worry about your life, what you'll eat or drink, what you'll wear. Isn't life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They don't sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Aren't you much more valuable than they? Can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" That's the first thing Jesus says, is not to worry. And the reason he can say that is because he calls us to look, first of all, to our Heavenly Father, who is the one who created all things, everything, and in that sense owns it all, and who has a heart to bless and to provide for his children. So Jesus calls us into the security of our relation as beloved children of God. Don't worry, is his first word. He says, your Heavenly Father knows that you need these things. And then I think the second thing is to be thankful. We've heard a lot about thankfulness, about the way in which it changes our perspective and actually forms our characters. But I think it reminds us that we don't actually own anything that we think of as ours. We're only stewards. We're holding it on God's behalf. And I think as we do that, that can lighten the responsibility in some ways. But it also encourages us, yes, to be careful, to plan, to be aware of where our money's going and coming from, and not to be reckless with it. But it's the attitude of our hearts which really matters. Be thankful in all circumstances is what we're encouraged to do. So don't worry, be thankful. And lastly, be generous. Be generous. Luke, when he's recording Jesus' words, he just says, give and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. There's a kingdom dynamic going on here, which is a kind of topsy-turvy, upside-down thing. That actually, if we want to learn to be secure in what we have, we need to learn to give things away. And I think that's about giving towards God. And when Malachi writes about this, God complains that the people, that they are withholding the tithe from him. And that he wants to pour out the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing there wouldn't be room to store it if we're prepared to test him in that. But then it's also about being generous towards others. And I think that's what Luke was talking about. That actually if we seek to hang on, it will diminish us. But actually if we're willing to let go, we can grow in the likeness of Jesus. So don't worry, be thankful, be generous. And my last thought simply comes from the cover of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, for those of you who remember that, which simply has in large capital letters the words, don't panic. I can reassure you that Douglas Adams didn't make that up. Actually, that's a pretty good summary of Jesus' advice to us when we look at difficult situations. Don't panic. God can work this one out. Bless you.